Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel and another episode of Kingdom, the season finale. I do apologize for the delay in uploads of late, of course, with in light of the whole coronavirus outbreaks. Myself included have not gone by unaffected by the quarantines, so it's been a bit chaotic past few weeks, getting everything set up at home in terms of work and stuff like that, and of course had my own bit of scare. Had a cough for a good couple weeks actually, and um, it turns out that that's not it's not that just a terrible cough, but trying to get everything back, trying to catch up, trying to get everything back on track now. So no better way to start that off than with the finale of my favorite series this year, right? Last time on Kingdom, episode 5, we had a brilliant misdirect by Prince Lee Chang, and of course, um, the one that the Queen Regent didn't see coming whatsoever. One of his supporters, I believe, um, one of the leaders of the royal division, the royal commandery, who had supported him because they learned the truth after reading the king's physician's diary, and he of course betrayed him in the last episode, supposedly betrayed him, to spare his own family, but that was just a diversion to redirect the queen's forces outside of the palace so that the Prince Li Chang could actually um, come in and take control of the throne. He's back, of course, and um, things have unfortunately not gone as well as he had hoped. I think the difference between the queen here and Cho Hak-ju, and I don't know, the prince perhaps didn't know her that well to predict this, but Cho Hak-ju was um he was a madman, but he was strategic in his moves. She's just insane. She's just insane, right? And we saw that on full display last episode, where she said if she can't have the throne, then no one will have it, and she ordered her attendants to release one of the affected in the palace, and everyone has now turned, and the prince himself doesn't have the forces inside, because they've closed off the walls to the palace now. They don't have the forces inside to actually take care of this threat. I think what may need to happen is the forces that he tricked into leaving the palace, they may have to find a way to reopen the gates and get those men back in, so that they can help them eliminate all the undead that are now inside the palace. Um, Byung-pal had a somewhat redeeming moment, although in my mind, from my perspective, he's not done nearly enough to redeem himself. If she dies, I will not care. I think he's he has no honor. He has betrayed his word. It's because of him that Mu-yeong died. I can't forgive him for that. I can't. Right? I can't forgive him for that. So I mean, he spared the family members of the royal division, and in doing so redeem himself. He has redeemed himself somewhat, but it's because of him that Mu-yeong died. That's unforgivable. I'm sorry, but that is unforgivable. Right? Fortunately, Seo-bi is safe. No, she managed to escape, and she's now back by the prince's side. But however, everything is now thrown into chaos. They're about to be swarmed by the undead, and I don't know how they're gonna get out of this. I don't know how they're gonna get out of this. And this is the last episode, and there's quite a bit to wrap up. Even as so far as who will go on the throne, right? And in 2 episodes ago, we did see where Lee met with his uncle, who appears to have abandoned the throne himself. And I can only imagine that they put that there for some reason, right? Perhaps it's a contingency for the prince in the event that he dies, that the queen doesn't automatically still rule, right? They still have proof that the child is not hers, so she doesn't have an heir. So she doesn't necessarily have a claim. But if everyone who knows the truth dies, then she could claim the throne for herself. So perhaps he spoke to his uncle in the event that something should happen to him, then he may be able to step in and oppose her. But as I said last episode, and I'll say it again, you cannot have a member of the Cho clan and you have them at your mercy, and you do not show, you do not turn your backs on them, right? They did it with Cho Hak-ju. They had the opportunity to kill him, they didn't, and he came back and he almost annihilated them, right? And they did the same thing here with her. They didn't want to remove her forcefully from the throne, and because of that, the outbreak spread faster than it needed to, and she's still sitting there with a smug look on her face. So hopefully they don't make that mistake again. Hopefully Lee survives this, but he's thinking not just of himself but of the people. So he's definitely he has definitely grown since the very first episode of the first season, where he was attempting to usurp control for himself, right? But since then, even amidst this plague, he has been forced to travel the countryside, see the people, how they've been living, and what a ruler and how a true ruler should actually be, which is, for a servant of the people, right? Of the people, and you are, whether you're democratically elected or a king, whatever the case might be, you are a servant of the people, right? And I'm glad to see that the prince has grown into that leader, and I just hope that he survives long enough to actually lead, right? But the season finale of Kingdom, guys, let's check it out. The only thing I can see saving them now is if it actually rains, because Seo-bi did say 2 episodes ago that they were afraid of water, even though the water wasn't very deep. So clearly the worms from the plant somehow can't survive in water itself. So that's the only thing that can save them now, is if it actually rains. There's no point in staying there. You guys need to get the hell out of there. You're gonna die too. Not the baby though. I don't mind her going, but where's Prince Lee Chang and young Sin? Okay, they didn't get the baby. Oh, it's a bold move. Where's the prince and young Sin in all of this though?
단약은 얼마나 남았느냐? 모두 합해도 저들을 다 처치할 수는 없습니다. 저들에게 쓸 것이 아니다.
Is he trying to lure them into the pond? That is where Cho Hak-ju has been dumping the bodies from the palace, so good work. Why the hand? Always the hand, man. You need to fight with it and oh man. Thank you, young Sin. Losing people. And they're here, and now what? What's the plan, Prince? Oh, what's the plan here? For it to collapse? Please don't tell me she was bitten. Please don't tell me she was bitten. The baby was bitten.
동.
Ah. Now I see. The lake is frozen. Yeah. Have to make the last stand here. Lure them onto the ice and sink them to the bottom. That's what the shots are for. I don't know if they should have lit that on fire though. I mean, they don't have anywhere else to go. Yes, the intention is that, you know, we go with them. MVP, don't die here. Ice isn't breaking. Come on! I mean, the more of them come, the more weight, and the easier it is to it will crack and break. Ah, the queen is here. That's what she deserves. Just sucks that she got the baby bitten. Ah, Prince got bitten. Damn it! Damn it! I guess I knew it was their last stand. It was gonna happen. MVP. Sin. Wait, no one's surviving this? I don't care about Grandpa. Come on, must collapse under the weight at some point. Come on. Yes. That's what I need. Even those that have survived are gonna go with them though. And nobody's surviving this. Can't believe the prince is gone. Maybe not. I mean, they were just bitten, so the worms would be forced out, similar to what happened with Hye-Jun. So, come on. If the worms come out before he turns, then you can still survive this. Young Sin. Yeah. MVP. I need to figure out his name. Come on, guys. So, oh, Byeonpal, just stay there. Just stay there, Byeonpal. You were there with Cho Hak-ju. Were you not paying attention? Someone just kick him back into the water, please. There's still many of them outside the castle walls though, so they have their work cut out for them.
저수지 안에 모든 시신들을 끌어낸 것이냐?
예.
The baby's bitten though, so I don't know.
아이를 보여다오.
I don't know why she's keeping him that close to her. She could get bitten. Is she able to save him? I mean, if she had water.
물린 것은 맞지만 이 아이는 괴물이 아닙니다. 정말입니다.
He's Mu-yeong's son. He wouldn't want to just kill him, but
더 이상 다치는 일 없게 만들겠다 하셨습니다. 그러니 이 아이를 살려주십시오. 역병도 끝날 것입니다. 추위가 물러가고 봄이 오면 이 모든 악몽이
I don't understand why she's saying he's not going to turn. Seven years. Okay. Is this him? Yes, there's the bite. I guess he didn't turn, but I don't understand why. So the prince didn't kill him, he didn't send him away. So
사촌은 그 누구라도
so Li Chang is not on the throne then.
절대 볼 수 없다는 걸 잘 아시지 않습니까?
아무도 얘기해주지 않습니다.
As well as his only brother.
이제 곧 경연이 시작될 것입니다. 전하께서 보고 들으신 것은 모두 이 나라를 위함입니다. 보살피실 수 있습니다.
So he's talking about Lee, and Lee left. So Byung-pal is a magistrate. That young Sin?
멈추거라! 맞지?
Yeah, it is.
오랜만에 인사드립니다.
At least he's now doing the work. Alright, so I can respect him for that.
제 눈으로
저하께서는 잘 지내시겠지? 아, 은여가 곁에 있으니 잘
Oh, she went with him. Okay, good. Okay.
찬성지를 좋아하여 더운 기운이 강한 봄, 여름에는 발병하지 못하고 가을과 초겨울에는 해가 있는 동안만 발병하지 못하고 1년 중 가장 찬 동지부터 입춘까지는 낮밤 모두 깨어납니다. 그러나 아직까지 분명 이 벌레는 찬성지를
So how
좋아했는데
did eating
반대로
the
열을
food
가하자 더욱
actually spread
폭주하며
it?
전염이 시작됐습니다. 생사초에는 더 큰 비밀이 숨겨져 있습니다.
But if no one actually attempts to use it, then they should be fine.
생사초가 발견됐습니다.
This only happened because Cho Hak-ju's experiment with the plant. So if no one tries to use the plant, then they should be good. This is similar to the site that was in Sang-ju.
가까운 산촌의 촌장과 그 아들입니다.
이 풀들 언제부터 이곳에 있던 것이냐?
그것이
But then
분명히 누군가가 생사초를 팔았단 말인가?
확실합니다. 생사초를 사용해 죽은 이를 살려내는 방법도 정확히 알고 있었습니다.
who?
그 풀을
Someone
팔면
has the
그를
journal.
일러주었다 합니다.
The physician's journal. Somebody has it.
그래서
Who would do something so ridiculous after seeing what happened here?
그라도 역병이 퍼지는 것을 대비해
Hey, these guys.
이곳입니다. 세간살이들은 남아 있는데 사람들은 모두 사라져 있었습니다.
Lee Chang even has a new look. Everyone has a new look, and I love Young Sin's outfit. Yeah, we've been experimenting with it. I mean, after the disaster that happened in Sung-kyu, I don't know why anyone would want to replicate that. I mean, for money, come on.
생사초에는 더 큰 비밀이 숨겨져 있다.
Who is this guy that they keep highlighting? That was at the last site that they found in Sangju as well. No? Damn. All right, everyone. There we have it. Our season finale of Kingdom, Kingdom season 2, and what a fantastic season it has been. Another fantastic episode. I love how they have expanded the entire Kingdom universe in this finale here. This episode, of course, some major turning points. Prince Lee Chang having to remove himself from the equation and turn power over to the prince, who's not exactly a prince, but he had no choice. It was one of two things. It was either there couldn't be two princes, right? Those who are loyal to the Cho clan would have resisted him if they believed that this prince was in fact a member of the Cho clan, and the king's true heir, right? So he couldn't stay. He could have slayed the prince. Obviously, he made the right choice. He wouldn't want to kill an infant. My only reservation was to whether or not the child was infected, which, as we saw at the end here, he still has the worms inside his body, but he hasn't turned. So there is still some mystery surrounding how the infection actually works. Seo-bi has continued her research, and I'm glad to see everyone having a makeover. It's been 7 years later, and everyone has leveled up. I do hope that, well, I don't know, perhaps not. She's the researcher on the team. They don't need to make her the badass character. They already have Young Sin and Prince Lee Chang, who are quite capable themselves. They can still equip her to some extent to be more effective in fights and stuff like that. Something that's more suitable to what she does, right? But because so far she's done a fantastic job, and I have no criticisms whatsoever for her. But I do. She spent a lot of time being in captive for one person or another. So hopefully, over the past 7 years, she has some tools to better deal with herself in those situations. She is smart, very intelligent, and she's managed to think her way through a lot of the situations that she's found herself in. So I'm sure that remains unchanged. Young Sin looks like a total badass, and I'm glad that he's accompanying Prince Lee Chang, sort of in place of Mu-yeong now. He needs a new guard. Young Sin has proved himself to be quite capable, and I love his outfit and his hat. He's so cool. It's totally cool. But this new prince that's now in power, who's not necessarily the rightful heir to the throne because he's Mu-yeong's son, so he doesn't have a legitimate claim. Now, I don't know what will happen if someone finds out that he's not the legitimate heir. There could be an attempt with different clans to fight over the throne itself, because I'm sure someone out there knows, right? And news travels word of mouth. Someone out there knows, and it may come back, because we do see that there's this one character that they spotlighted throughout, right? This one character that they spotlighted throughout. They've shown him like twice, just looking at the prince, right? And he covered up the prince's bite mark throughout the episode, and then we saw him again at the end of the episode, looking at the prince and watching over him. I don't know if he's an ally, and perhaps he's the son of one of the magistrates or something to that effect, and he's asking to watch over him. But we've never seen him before, and he's definitely aware of everything that happened, but he was never a part of the original group, so I don't know what his intentions are. So there are people out there who do know of the events that happened. The records are no longer available to the public or even to the king himself, as they mentioned in the first part of the prince's appearance, that he's been inquiring about it because he wants to know what happened to his brother, what happened to his parents, but even the king cannot see those records. But word of mouth, news travels, people will know. So that may eventually come back to harm them in some way. But Prince Li Chang is still alive, and he's out there hunting this plant down. And as I said, I love that they've expanded the world, because when this plant was first introduced, it was the king's physician, that told them about it. But how did they come by the information to begin with? The physician is the one that told the Hak-ju about the plant, but someone must have told him about the plant as well. You don't just stumble upon something like that, right? Something that's specific, because you do have to inject it at a specific location at the back of the head for it to actually work. So this is something that has obviously there's been some experiments, some testing to actually get it to work. The site that Seo-bi came across here at the very end with the bells and the plants, they found a similar location in Sangja. Yeah, I'm terrible with the name, so forgive me. At first, when we did come across it, that's where she saw the undead that they couldn't cross the water, right? But all these bells were around the place, and there were shackles and a table, which shows that someone has been there and someone has been experimenting with these things. And I immediately thought it was Hak-ju who was doing it, to figure out how he could actually use it, right? Because he did know that, or somehow he knew or figured out that it wasn't nightfall, and it was actually temperature that activates these undead. How did he come by that information to be able to use them so effectively? So it's been in the back of my mind for some time that someone out there has knowledge of this. I thought it was Hak-ju, but he definitely needed Seo-bi to help him, which means he doesn't know, he's not scientifically knowledgeable. He doesn't know how exactly the plant works. So it had to have been someone else. So this woman that we see at the very end here obviously has a large part to play. I don't know if she's just a servant of the person who's doing this, or maybe she is the person. Whoever it is, they've been going around and selling this magic cure to bring back the dead. And why wouldn't anyone buy into that? I mean, if you have loved ones who's passed away, I'm sure she doesn't have the disclaimer that this product may bring back the dead with a tendency to eat human flesh and may cause a mass pandemic. I don't think she tells them that. She just sells it on the fact that, okay, it can bring the dead back to life. And as we saw with one of the merchants here, he just, he brought the flower back and started planting it because he wanted to just make money off of it. But obviously it can have, I don't know. I don't know why anyone. I mean, hopefully, I was thinking initially that why would anyone buy into that after hearing what happened at the palace, but since they've hidden the record, they've hidden the records and they haven't publicized any of it of the events that happened for the outbreak. Most people don't know about it, so they're not going to be hesitant when someone comes to them and say, "Hey, I have this plan to sell you. You can bring back the dead." They won't know. So the public still has very little knowledge of this, and it's clearly a bit more. It's clearly more widespread than we thought initially. And I love the way the writer continues to build upon this mythology concerned surrounding the plant and the worms, and the world just keeps getting bigger and bigger. It's absolutely fantastic, and I love it. I love this ragtag of team that Prince Lee Chang has now put together to hunt down this individual, and this definitely means he has a huge part to play, at least in the next season. And I'm usually one for, if you're not new to the channel, I see countless times that I think at 4th or 5th season, most series reach their prime, their peak at 4 or 5 seasons, and there's always a danger of the writing suffering when you go beyond that. So far they've managed to hit their stride. They're doing fantastic here. They're continuing to build on the mythology as the seasons go along. I can definitely see a 3rd season, maybe even a 4th. I wouldn't want it to go beyond a 4th season. I absolutely love the show, but I hope the writer has a story to tell, and he tells that story and leaves it at that. I know it's based on the book Kingdom of Gods, so I'm not sure how far that book actually goes. It may be an interesting read. Now that I don't want to spoil myself, but it would be an interesting read in between seasons. So I may in fact check that out. I think it's called Kingdom of God. So I'm definitely going to be looking at that. If you haven't already, you should definitely check it out. I'm definitely going to. But it's a fantastic season, man. I'm still neither here nor there where Byung Pal is concerned. As I said, I think his betrayals, I don't think the good that he has done equates to betrayals that he has. I can't forgive him for Mu-yeong. He's doing a great job now, and apparently he's helping Mu-yeong's son, so there's some redemption here for him. And hopefully over the past 7 years, he's become a bit more competent. It appears as though he has, given from his conversation with Young Sin, that he's changed. He's working for the better. He's made a lot of mistakes, so I will forgive him eventually. I will eventually, but he has a ways to go to earn my forgiveness. He has a ways to go, right? Prince Lee Chang himself, as I mentioned 2 episodes prior, he did reach out to his uncle, right, who has some claim to the throne as well. And it's interesting that he chose to go with this plan instead of letting this new prince take control of the throne rather than having his uncle step in. It speaks again to his growth, but I do believe the king currently on the throne isn't for very long. It may not be in the 3rd season, but perhaps even the 4th. But I think eventually Lee's gonna have to take the throne, even though he doesn't want to. Oftentimes, the person who's best suited to lead is the person who doesn't want to lead, and I think he's gonna find himself in that situation where he doesn't feel as though he deserves the throne, but in doing that, in feeling that way, it makes him more deserving than anyone else, right? But now we have a young prince, a young king, on the throne, and I can only hope that the advisors that he left to take care of him are not as manipulative as the ones prior to this king, because those guys they were complete idiots. So I hope he's left the king in good hands, right? That's all I can say. I hope he's left the king in good hands. I would have thought he would have left Seo-bi there, but he needed her to help with the bigger picture, which is the potential outbreak in different areas of the country and not just here. This has been a fantastic joy. It's been a fantastic ride, guys. This is definitely up there as one of my favorite series currently. I love The Witcher last year, but this tops The Witcher for me personally. I love The Witcher lore and everything along with it, but this is such a unique take on a genre that has in many ways been played out. Um, I've said before, I stopped watching The Walking Dead after its fourth season because it stopped being about the survival, and there was just too much focus on the undead. Here in Kingdom, it's interesting that they've gone in the direction they have, because I mean the undead are a part of this world, right? But at the same time, they're not so much the focus of it, or at least they haven't been. We may see that in the third season because that's where our heroes are focusing now. But for first and second season, it's been about the politics. It's been about the throne, right? It's been about power, and the undead have merely been tools to accomplish that for either Hak-ju or in some ways Li Chang himself, right? It's been about relationships and all of that, and the zombies have just kind of been, the undead have just kind of been in the background, and they do play an important role, but it's not purely just survival, right? And so The Walking Dead fell off for me because it was just rehashing the same thing over and over again and trying to find a new and creative ways to jump scare you, and after a bit that just loses its effectiveness, right? But again, as I've said, most series meet their stride at 4 or 5 seasons. And Walking Dead, I don't even know how far it's gotten now, but I think what they should have done at the very least, I know there are different characters now, but they should have just rotated after a couple seasons maybe, or I think they did a spin-off called Fear the Walking Dead, which was a breath of fresh air for me because it gave me a break from these same characters who grew, but they grew to a point. Rick was Rick until he couldn't be Rick anymore, and it just felt stagnant, right? Fear the Walking Dead introduced a horror element to the genre, in that you see the outbreak happening in real time and how people react to it, how the government responds, the military, and that was what I liked about Fear the Walking Dead. And we just followed this random family and see how they, through their eyes, how they experience the outbreak. And what I would have liked for them to have done in Fear the Walking Dead was move to a different family in the second or third season, but they kept on with it, and they sped up the reaction to the outbreak, and eventually it just felt like it was Walking Dead all over again. Just this time, there are many ways they could have gone with it, and they didn't. I'm hearing that The Walking Dead has gotten better in the recent seasons, but I don't know if that's enough to get me back on board, because I would still need to go to trudge through the not so enjoyable seasons to get to the good ones again, and I don't know if I'm up for doing that. But for the moment, Kingdom is excellently written, excellently directed, and perhaps it's the time period that it's set in. It's very much a period piece, and because of that, I mean, you don't have weapons that solve your problems in just a few seconds. You have to fight your way out, right? More often than not, the guns is just one shot, and you do have to use swords or whatever it is around you to actually survive, and that I do enjoy. I think that adds an additional layer of complexity to the story that makes it so enjoyable. But definitely the characters as well. Absolutely love the characters. Mu-yeong was definitely one of my favorites. I'm sad that he had to go out the way he did, but the prince had nothing but love for him, irrespective of his betrayal. He knew he did it for his family. So Mu-yeong, Prince Li Chang, his character has grown so much. You guys know how I feel about Byung-pal already. I don't know. I'll be open. Maybe once some time has passed in season 3, maybe I'll be a bit more forgiving then, right? Young Sin definitely rose up to be one of my favorite characters. I suspected him many times of being the traitor throughout the season, of course. But he's definitely come up to be one of the greater characters. And there's another character here that I've been looking for his name, but I can't seem to find him. But he was the head of the royal commandery, and he was investigating the deaths at the Cho estate. and he was taken prisoner, and then Prince Lee Chang freed him last episode, right? And he's been a badass in this episode as well when they were fighting on the ice. He's the MVP, man. This man did his job as the Royal Police. Did his job. He was kidnapped. He's one of my favorite characters. This series, this past few episodes. We didn't get much of him early on, but he's definitely stepped up. And I need to learn his name because he's a badass. Hopefully he returns for the next season because I'd love to see more of that character. He's done a fantastic job. The Cho clan are gone. They're gone. The queen got what she deserves. She got the death that she deserved. I was wondering initially if you actually did see her body, but I mean they found the pin. I don't think there was any. I don't think there's any coming back for her because she already turned. We saw her turn. So they didn't show her body at the end there. We saw the head of the Royal Division pick up the pin that she usually wears. I think that's significant enough. But she definitely got what she deserved. Cho Hak-ju definitely a brilliant villain to the end, and went out in the best possible way by a member of his own clan. Considering how much he valued his legacy, and his own daughter ended up poisoning him. So all's well that ends well, and the Cho clan definitely got what they deserve. So he was definitely a great villain for this series, and I can't wait to see what what the next will be, because this woman that they've showed at the end, I have no idea. I don't think we've seen her throughout the series so far. I thought it was perhaps one of the queen's attendants or something, but no. Clearly, this is someone who's been working in the backgrounds for some time now, selling this information for profit. But I don't know who she is. She looks terrifying. She looks like she's a badass. So I cannot wait for the next season to learn more about this character and what role she has to play. So be sure to post down below, guys. Let me know what your thoughts are on this episode, this season overall. Which is more enjoyable for you, this season or season 2 or season 1? Season 2 has definitely built up on the mythology, and one of my I'd say it's gotten better with each season, right? So season 2 has definitely raised the level a bit for me. So be sure to post down below, let me know what your thoughts are. Hit like and subscribe, and I will see you guys for the next season.